Welcome one, welcome all. Market mastery, getting into the nitty gritty to find the trades that are going to make you some money. We crushed the SPY over the last 2 weeks. We've had some phenomenal results in a very, very strong and profit-worthy market. Very happy with the trades as they've panned out. As many of you know, our long-term NVDA trade absolutely crushed. I exercised it. I went for it. I shot my shot. I exercised that to take these shares. So converted that trade into 100 shares of NVIDIA at a $250 cost basis. So substantial gains there. As I said to many of you within the Discord, the plan is to now turn that into passive income month over month by selling options premium against it. Last week, we talked about our range trading strategy on the SPY between about 473 and 478. Absolutely crushed. Really, really happy with that. Happy how those trades panned out. I hope you guys made some money. We're going to talk about our strategy for the upcoming week, as well as dive into some of these trades that are absolutely booming. We talked UPST last week. It boomed. We talked Disney last week, already setting up for a phenomenal trade. It's one of the first that we're going to dive into. I got the chart pulled up here so that everybody can see it. Sorry, I was taking a quick look at Spotify. So one of the first that we're going to look at is this Disney trade that we teed up on the last stream. We also dug a little deeper on Friday in our Market Watch live stream. I'm going to put this ticker up here so you guys can know what we're looking at here. We're looking at the Disney chart. Absolutely phenomenal setup on the monthly. As you can see here, we are using the StocksBuddy trading algorithmic indicator, which you go to StocksBuddy.com if you want it. We're not going to talk too much about it, but got our bull signal here perfectly at $80. I did not get in that early. My wait and watch strategy was in play. I wanted to see us break into this range. You can see this thin green line here right around 90 bucks. I was waiting until we break up into that range to initiate the trade, because that is when the confirmation has occurred and we can be a lot more comfortable in taking a larger position. Now you see a line up here that is the top of our range, which is priced at about $119 a share. Now, is that my target? Absolutely, but I will be taking profit on the way up. Do not ever just sit and hold and wait for one final target. Always scale out the position little by little as it travels upward and makes you money. So we got a lot to talk about today. If you guys are new, please type new in the chat. We're going to be giving away some free stuff. If you guys have been with us for a while or forever, because I know some of you have, just type Discord in the chat. Leave us your username so we know who's here so that we can thank you. We're going to be doing a little bit of swag giveaway as well. I want to give away maybe a hat, maybe a shirt. We'll see what's going on. So make sure you put your name in there to see if you will win. And again, if you're new, just type new in the chat. We're going to get you plugged in on some free watch lists, some great materials to get you started in your trading journey that come to you every week, hand delivered to your inbox. So that being said, let's take a look at this Disney chart. Again, monthly here. We waited for this breakup. We got our entry. We're trading at about 95 bucks. We are already green on the position. That is a good sign. That is a good thing. I've typed the alert. It is in the Discord for those of you that have access. For those of you that don't, I'll put a link down here so you can create your free account. Go in there and make sure you do that. There's tons of free stuff. So we got a turnover on the RSI. Like that we're curling up here. We were bouncing off oversold for quite a while as the price descended. As you can see, Disney had a hell of a run up and really built a nice support here around 90.91. I really do like that support. We got into overbought territory when we pressed against this 120. That was back in July of 2015, so quite a while ago. And so we also want to take into account the fact that it traded in this range for quite a while until it broke out, found huge support here in March of 2020. So during COVID, this thing sold off down to about 76 bucks, but found great support around $92, which bodes very well for us for the future, meaning that we're taking that past price action and we're turning it into something useful and really getting it going here. Are you doing SPY calls? Yeah, we're going to talk SPY in just a second. I just wanted to start with Disney because this is one of the most recent picks I put out that I really am happy about and that I really enjoy. So that's our trade. You guys got the trade info. If you're in the Discord, it was posted, I want to say last Friday. So go in there and get that if you don't have it. Again, targets are all highlighted, the stop loss highlighted, risk, the notes on the trade, everything you need to know. But I just love that we're setting up here. So now we're going to segue a little bit. We're going to go into the SPY. We're going to talk options trades. We're going to give you the bull and bear situation as we see it so that this week you have a trade either way. I want to make sure that no matter what's happening, bull or bear, you guys are set up to make a very efficient and effective trade We've been using the 30-minute, I believe, so let's go ahead and stick with that. Ignore these other levels we have highlighted. That's the past as of right now until we come back down. So we absolutely crushed this range. Remember, we talked about that 473 bottom leading to 475 top. If you took that options trade, let me go ahead and look here and see if we have it on the watch list. Give me just 1 second. Where was that? So if you decided to swing that, 478 call, this is how you're doing right now. That thing's up 100%. This was added to the watch list. I did not hold this. It looks like it went as high as about 957 from an entry around $4. Phenomenal trade, if you ask me. Absolutely booming. If you chose to swing it after we talked about buying on the low 473, targeting 475 first target with an inevitable target of 478. So if you held that swing over 3-4 days, you're up over 100%. So looking at the chart now, as it stands, we pressed to a new all-time high, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a quick look and verify that just to be certain. Yep, that's new all-time high. So that means that we are in price discovery mode, much as we discussed with NVIDIA. There is no top right now. There is no top. We don't know. No one knows. All we can do is estimate where we think this is going to go. And so now is the question of how do we do that? Well, let's go back to a longer time frame. And we got a lot of lines on this chart here. That makes this somewhat difficult. Maybe we can go to a different no, we're just gonna have to roll with it. We've been mapping this thing out and made it our bitch, if you ask me. We've crushed this. So just using a simple fib retracement, it gives us the ability to dial in and make more sense of what we're seeing in terms of the price action here. That would put an inevitable target at about 565. So for those of you that haven't been following that long, my prediction on the price target for SPY inevitably was going to be close to $500. We were talking about that when it was trading down at about 405, 409. When we bought that, we bought the bottom back in October. We're going to turn this off. It makes it a little easier. So when we bought the bottom back in October, those are the price targets we had. I'm going to get rid of those. Okay. So the question is, how far is this thing going to go? Well, since we have reached a new high, we did see a good bit of sell-off. So what we're going to do here tomorrow as we watch this into open is we're going to be very, very mindful of one thing, and that is a weak open that will lead us down to support. So what very well could happen, so you can see buyers are swelling here. That's a good sign. See right here, sellers pushed down, buyers immediately gobbled that up and then kept it moving with the price action. So that's a good sign. Now, what happens if we open and come down to support? Well, first and foremost, we want to make sure we get a confirmation here. So we want one of these 30-minute candles to go below this line and then close above it. That would be our confirmation. Should we get that confirmation, that would be around 481, 482. So again, we're projecting weak open. We're going to wait for that confirmation that this is going to hold as support. If it does, we're going to be looking at, let's go look at the SPY options chain. So we're just on Robinhood, simple, easy to use. We're going to look at the options chain here. We want to give ourselves some time, like mid-February. We want to give ourselves at least 3 weeks on these. If we're going to swing them, you can also day trade these contracts, but I would say these are more for the swing. If you want to go a little closer in, these trades will still apply that I'm going to cover. So again, we talked about coming as low as 41, 42. Now, where would we target? Well, that would give us a close of the gap if we came down to about 42. So that'd be a good thing. And once that closes, we're typically going to see more upside. So now the question is how far, because we don't have a past reference point to look at because we have reached new highs. So yes, that is a problem, but I would estimate that we're probably going to approach 44, 45 and try to test a new high. Now, we might not get it, but if we do, that's what it's going to be. So again, let's look at maybe 480. I would say we got to go 485. We can't really go much further than that. Good open interest, strong delta. So this is the one that I would watch. So going back to the chart here, okay, again, we talked about a weak open and a support test around 481. That would be the time in which we initiate these calls, right? So we talked about that 485 call dated February 16th. So that would be the contract that we're eyeing for either short-term swing, or you could day trade and you could go a little closer to expiration. It means you bring the date back to closer to like 2 weeks out, which is more risk, but if you want more movement on those day trades. So again, we're just talking bull and bear here. So this is what I would do with trading the SPY tomorrow at open. I would watch for that week open. I want to see a candle confirm support here, at which point then that's when we'd initiate the buy on the 485 call, right? And what we should then see from there is a little bit of consolidation, and then we're either going to see a move up tomorrow, or we're going to consolidate and we're going to close almost neutral, 483 or so, and then we're going to see a nice push it open the following day. That would be my projections on this so far. That's what I think is the most likely event to occur for the SPY, because the only range we have right now would basically be, I would use right here more than I would use the breakout. So bull scenario number 2, which is worth discussing here, and that would be that we open strong, kind of stay neutral, but which I would argue strength. We test up 484, okay? We break above this line just like we did right here, and then we get that confirmation, meaning that candle closed above this line. Either then or when it comes down to test support right here, when we get that confirmation, we could go with so if you look on average, SPY, it comes down 476, moves up to 482. SPY likes to move in $6 increments. So we would set our strike on that breakout $6 above. So to go back to the options chain, we would be looking at something more like $6 from where we are, which is about 483. We would be looking at like the 489, right? Not a strong delta, but again, we typically get those $6 moves on the SPY intraday. So if we did get that breakout and confirmation, we would be targeting 489. That would be our next target that we would go after, and we would trade that on the breakout. So again, if we get that neutral open, I would keep your eyes peeled for a breakout and its support test, and then see if this thing just wants to continue up to 489 or so, which will put it right about here. I think those are our two most likely scenarios tomorrow, just given that we priced in a new all-time high. That's how I'm going to trade them. Now, the bear scenario is very similar to what we just discussed, okay? So let's get into that. That would mean similar open to what we talked about in scenario number 2, but a rejection right here at 484 and change, right? Once we get that rejection, meaning this might pop up, but then the candle closes below this line, we are going to trade the 481 puts. So go back to the options chain. We're going to switch to puts, same expiration, and we're going to look at these 481 puts. Delta's a little weaker, but add those there. That's the contract we're looking at. 481 put, February 16th expiration date, day after Valentine's Day, or 2 days after, sorry. So in looking at that, right, we're going to wait for the SPY to open. Again, neutral here, guys. Neutral, meaning it's going to stay between like 42 and 43, and it's just kind of trading sideways. We're going to test this resistance right here where we bumped our heads right here. Then we broke through, we sold off, and then we get rejected again. So we know that this resistance matters and that the price action will follow. That if we get our heads bumped here and we close that candle back down on at least the 15-minute, I would say use the 30-minute to be a little safer. Then what we're going to do is we're going to trade those 481 puts, because we're likely to come down and test this support at 481 and change. And if we keep going, that's the best part. If you're holding that 41 put, it could mean catastrophe. This thing comes 476, you're deep in the money. You just made 200-300% on one trade. That would be phenomenal, and I think that would make a lot of sense. So those are our two SPY scenarios. We've got, three technically. We got our two bullish scenarios, and we got our one bearish scenario. That's how I'm going to trade it. That's how I think you should too, because that is what the price action is telling us is the trade right now. Those trades are as calculated, call it safe, but risk averse, but profit friendly. Those are the most profit friendly trades that I think you can come up with right now in the SPY, especially for those of you day trading it. And my goal is to just make sure that you guys have all the information you need. Master asked a great question. Your support goes a long way, even if it's just digital thumbs up, lets us know we're doing a good job, and just feels really good for the self-esteem. So if you could do that, that would be great. So that's the SPY. That's what we're playing there. I think we've got some good footing on that, and I do like it. I think that going forward on the SPY, it's really just kind of playing the playing with what we're given. And I would say that there's been a lot of call writing, so it does kind of give the impression that we're going to see some downside. But oh my God, that DWAC went absolutely nuts. I think we covered that one. I don't remember what we said the potential price targets were for that mic. I don't know if you remember, but I'd love to know because I imagine we probably crushed it because we usually do. We've been doing our research. Dow is strong. Another one that I wanted to talk about that we covered on the stream the other day is UPST. We had a big boom for the day. Obviously went bullish. Let's go to the weekly because I think this is the chart you really need to keep your eyes peeled on. StocksBuddy gave the buy at $23. You got almost 100% return. You did get 100% return if it went from buy to here. So if you're not using this yet, make sure you use it. I also have a promo code I was going to put out for you guys at the end of the stream for StocksBuddy. If you haven't tried it yet, you need to. There's a discount available. If you're already in premium, make sure you hit us up because you get a better price than everyone else. Just name of the game. Don't hate. So make sure you get you get it from us so that you get the best price possible. So looking at this, I really think we have a lot of potential here. We're still bearish on the weekly and bearish on the daily, but the monthly has turned over. It is bullish. 26 was the trigger. Nice little inverted hammer here. We want to see this push up. We got to see a new high over 51. That would make me really optimistic, but we might not. So just be careful. I think realistically, we're going to really struggle with that $50. I do like that we're finding that pre-IPO support here at around $24. That's very favorable. There's been a lot of accumulation there, which means that the price should hold here. You can see that buyers have come in with quite a bit of strength. This thing never really went oversold, which is insane to me. It was just such a wild run as this thing went up to like $385. So keep that in mind. This is trading around 1/10 of what it was. So I'm not saying that was fair value, but I am saying that right now that anything's possible and this thing could absolutely ripped from here. So so we nailed it on DWAC. We said 24, 28, and then 40. Let me pull that chart up. Did anybody day trade this? Oh my gosh, my Lord. So at 24, then you got 28, and then more volume, it hit 40 plus. Boom. Insane. Absolutely insane. What's up, the Rick Show? How you living, baby? Are you new? Are you with us in the Discord? Or are you new member? I'll just wait. Okay, so DWAC nailed it. Cool, good to know. All right, let's keep it moving. The one that's on everybody's mind. We got NVIDIA here. Absolute monster. We've taken this one for a ride. Right now is important to be mindful. It's hit our long-term target of 570. Remember, we called that target when we were trading around 420. Nailed it. We are now in this gap here where there's potential for this thing to keep on ripping and running. It's showed a lot of strength. Again, blue sky breakout, meaning that the sky's the limit. This thing could continue to go nuclear. There is no point of resistance when we have not yet found the high. So be very careful in trading this one. Again, I exercise that option. I'm out of it. I am holding the shares and going to continue to hold the shares. Absolute madness. We're going to keep watching that one. Another one on the list we've been taking some spreads against is Microsoft. Held up pretty well today. StocksBuddy auto-calculating stop loss at 390.25. So I'd say if you're using this on the daily or the weekly, you could trust that for the option spreads that we took out. Did find a new high today as well, so that's very favorable for this one. And then one other that I've been asked a few times about, that's Apple. So I wanted to go ahead and cover that for you because I think this is a great long-term stock. New bull signal given by StocksBuddy on the weekly. Monthly, StocksBuddy give it to you at 147. That's when it triggered. $50 upside, so insane. I like the chart here. I think it's going to just maintain trend. I think worst case scenario, this thing's going to come down a little bit and it's just going to hold trend line. And that wouldn't be the worst thing because as it starts to bubble up around 190s, we will get a breakout to the upside. So it's a great long-term stock. Once again, if you're not holding it, then take a look because it's something I think everyone should have in their portfolio. So that's that. I know there were a couple, Mike, that we were going to go over. I don't know if those were smash or pass or if they're really just looking for more of a price analysis. So I'm going to do for my guy Aussie. I know he was asking about CrowdStrike. This one has absolutely ripped. There you go. That was another one StocksBuddy would have made you money on. Buy was given at 117. This thing's at $300, so it's like 200%. Insane. Are we in all-time highs? Not yet. So breaching this high is really a big deal here. Again, you could use simple thing like a fib retracement to get a good handle on what kind of targets you can expect to set. And it looks like it's hitting that retracement right here at about $300, with next upside looking like 435, which is quite a ways from there. So I wouldn't necessarily go there. I would go maybe midline at 350, 360. If it continues bullish, you are getting descending volume here, though buyers are stepping up in force. RSI is trading around 82 on the weekly. So this thing is overbought and it is exhausted. It's going to need to come down a little bit. Personally, I think this is a great opportunity to add a short hedge to the position or take profit if you have not yet done that on this one, because it looks like it's absolutely exhausted after a hell of a run. And I wouldn't expect just too much juice to be squeezed out going forward without a little bit of a downside to kind of balance it out in a healthy way. So that's what I think for CrowdStrike. And we got a couple more that were requested. So I want to also encourage you all to start thinking of what stocks you want to see for our Smash or Pass segment. Just think of the ticker right now, put it in your head. And as we move on and get to that segment, I want you to type the ticker in the chat one at a time. You could do as many as you like. Just type one per comment so I could put it up on the screen. So I want everyone to take a second and think about what tickers they're going to use. So one other that was requested here, it was BTBT. So I've seen a lot of talk about this one on like Wall Street Bets and the such. Extremely bearish, like just this right here, harsh rejection, double top, almost triple top. You can see this range has been a struggle in the past right here, which means typically sells off to 344. Now, if it held support at 344 like it did here, I wouldn't be so concerned. But the fact that it pressed even further down, if this thing breaks below $2, it's going down to zero. So unfortunately, with this one right now, I would stay the hell away from this because I think it poses great risk. Another one that I know I've gotten a few questions about is Tesla. Everybody's asking. So we got that rejection at 268, which is a pretty pivotal area that we needed to see a breakout, and we did not get it. We climbed through this area with ease last time. We pushed up, failed, pushed up, failed, pushed up, failed again at resistance, which tells us that we pretty much got one or two more tests here before we really have to consider whether or not Tesla's gonna be bearish in the short and medium term. I think as of right now, you got a pretty critical support here at about $200. So it is at a place as far as price goes where I think that there's some optionality to it, where we might be able to create some long-term options trades to make a lot of money. I am still watching because the price action hasn't sold me yet. It hasn't given me a true direction, whether we're just range bound here and we're going to test resistance again at 233, come down and then see a breakout, or if we're just going to continue to crater downward until we find long-term trend support, which you can see right there, dating back to 2019 when this thing really started moving. So as far as Tesla goes, it's a wait and watch for me right now because I have not yet settled on where I think this price action is going to pan out. So I would keep that in mind for Tesla. Put that in there. And with that, I believe that was Oh, one more requested one. So start typing your tickers in the chat for smash or pass. Any ticker you want to talk about to see whether or not it's time to go long. The goal is to keep it short, quick, and to the point. We will just simply say whether or not it's an opportunity to buy it and hold it or not. We're not going multi-directional. We're just talking buy and hold or no. Make this very simple for everybody involved. So you can start typing those in the chat. Just type one per comment. Type as many as you'd like. Oh, wow. Palo Alto just booming. Looks like the projections were off here. We're expecting either to follow trend or come down to support and continue, but it just kept going. I wouldn't touch this one. New all-time high, but with that hanging doji, I think that this is a great short opportunity for it to come back down to support, maybe 310, 312. I don't think there's really much meat on the bone to the upside here going forward. I would say that that is definitely something that I would keep a close eye on for a short opportunity more than anything else. So let's start getting into some of these. Fellow Austin, that's how I know you're crisp. Let's take a look at FedEx. It's game time. Let's take a look. Drop your tickets in the chat. Oh, FedEx looking actually kind of interesting here. Where are the buyers at? That's where they are. So there are buyers here. This is a nice accumulation range around 240. I actually kind of like this. What is this about? Was that earnings? What's this big red boy about? Looks like it had a strong push. FedEx moves quick. Looks like it had a strong push and then just absolutely cratered. Market took it and flushed it down the drain. You've got pretty pivotal resistance here, 297, which means you might have some upside. So for this one, I would say right now you're really just watching to see if it holds 240 or if it comes down in the 230s or lower. Obviously, there's potential for it to come down that far. I'd say I should move this like here. There's potential to see the mid 220s. Looks like pretty decent support there. If it breaks there, then obviously it's coming back down to nothingness. But I don't think we'll see that. I do like that it's holding up here. I think that it's got some strength going forward, but we need to watch those key price points like 245 and then 220, see how it reacts before we take this and trade back up to 297. So I would say this one's like it's more of a gentle graze than a smash, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna give it a smash, but I'm not loving it. It's not crushing it for me. I'm not entirely sold on it overall. So keep that in mind. All right, so we got another one. SHW. Sherwin-Williams, the paint guys. Wow. Would you look at that? There's your long-term trend. Would you look at that? Trading below trend. Buyers are scooping it back up. I don't know what the fundamentals are here, but you definitely got some room, I think, for a long. It looks like it's starting to pick back up once again. I'd be a little cautious and concerned here. Looks like StocksBuddy give it the go-ahead, bull signal 275, and then also had a long buy at 227 before it ran to 286, $60 move. Wow, this thing's phenomenal. So anyway, I think this definitely still has more meat on the bone. I would focus on this trend line here, and I would make sure that it stays above that trend line before you take a position. I'd wait for either a confirmation, but it did break through. So I would say that you got some strength there. It's just a matter of whether this volume can swell and buyers can step in to take this to new all-time highs. So for me right now, I'd say it's a pass, just given industry and a few other reasons. I'm just not entirely sold on it being a huge growth story that is going to be fantastic. And based on the chart, you're definitely carrying some risk there. So that's that. Let's see. HD Home Depot. That was a dividend payer. Almost exact same chart. No, a little better. Home Depot still on trend. Hasn't broke trend since 2011. If that's not strength, I don't know what is. Typical 217, so $80. Over $80. 286. $80. Full signal at 13, $80 up, 393. So I think you still got about 10% left here for this thing to move. Given the past moves, it seems to move. It likes to move 10% at a time. So that's a classic right there. Oh, they're downgraded today. I wonder why. So looks like, well, so if their future guidance was bad, then I would be very mindful of this one. But again, I would just trust that trend line. I mean, you've got the trend right there. Trend is your friend. If it maintains that trend line, look at the weekly. If it maintains trend, then I would say hold. But otherwise, yes, we could absolutely see downside from here, from 350s down to like 290s, 300. If you look, this thing's been on quite a tear, and a downgrade might have that effect. So be very wary of that. But again, just get some like StocksBuddy. Look, it already auto calculated the stop 343. Just use tools like this to keep it in the moment stuff at the top of mind, so you can crush. Okay. Let's look at Path. I actually really like this company. Very interesting what they're doing, and it's been unfairly beaten down. Looks like StocksBuddy just went bear. Interesting. Sure, it's bullish on the monthly. Wow, monthly bullish alert came at like $12. This thing's up 100%. God, I just need to go chart everything and start throwing money into these. It's gapped up, so be aware of that. You got a gap up, which is always a little risky. This big move, 18 to 25. Again, it went bearish, but I think that taking this, if it can stay above 1943 or so, I would say honestly, if it holds above $17, this is going to be a great trade with a lot of upside. I think this company's got a great foothold and path forward. So I'm going to give it a. I actually like that one quite a bit. Boom. What's up? Zom, 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 oil and gas, oil and gas. Oil and gas got a tough road ahead. Oil and gas, zom, 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 zom. What I don't like is that rejection right there. So I'm going to say I'll be a bear until we're back up above $100. That's what I said before, and I stick with it. If we're not above 100, I ain't interested. Buying opportunities could come, maybe low 80s, but right now it looks like we're heading to bear town. So as far as going long here, it's says of right now, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. You can go bear though. That's not what we do here. We're just talking long or go home. Nextra Energy. Oh, looks like we did this one last time. It did not hold up. That's that critical support there, $58. Got to see that hold. If it doesn't, this thing's dead in the water. So unfortunately, that's going to be a pass. Oh, Mike's got one target and even got the whole trade range. I like that. Let's take a look. We went long on target at 120 for the long-term growth pick. So I'm with you. I loved that support bounce. That was gold. Over 130 is really our golden ticket here to see strength. I think that target is very well approaching 170 once again. I think that's pretty much going to be the target going forward for me, at least. So I do like that. Mike outlined 135 to 160, 175. I do like that. Now going January 2026, 230 call. I would say that's pretty ambitious. I would go for something. If you're going long term, you want to get that thing in the money as fast as possible, because that's going to generate you an insane compounding return. So for something like Target, I would try to like bite the bullet and maybe open a spread and go like 180, 185. I wouldn't go to 230 because we know it's very likely that we hit that 175 or so. And if it's just ripping from there, then you can very easily either roll that into another contract, take your profits, or exercise. But I don't know if I'd go that far out of the money personally. Stickman, rum. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say. So, target's getting that. I've been smashing that. Target. Let's take oh no, we're doing rum. Where's that comment? Boom. Oh, Rumble. Interesting. You do got a nice inverted hammer, which very well can signify a reversal in trend. Let's see what the buddy thinks. Still bear. I would agree completely. That breakout over 537, so it's going to be a pass until you get it. But this very well could be I would say like 540 or so. This very well could be a reversal play, because it looks like once you hit $6, this thing has the potential to push up to $9. So I would say as of right now, I'd watch carefully. I would watch this very carefully until you get that move in price, because then this thing is looking tasty. Stock their Rumble, I guess. All right, we knocked all those out. Very good, very good, very good. Beautiful. You guys have any more you wanted to look at? Last chance, last call. Put them in so we can knock them out. I'm on beginner. I believe so. I keep it. Oh, it's intermediate. Whoa. Yeah, I think intermediate's been the most quality for me, personally. The weekly already turned bull. I just want to see that breakout over 540 so it can recapture this range, test 702. Plus, it has legs once it breaks into like $6-7. It seems to have legs and run. This thing can move quick. I don't know what the float is here, but it's probably not anything high. Are you serious? Is there really a ticker that's as? What the hell is this? What is this company? As Inc. Specialty Business Services. I don't know what this company does. I don't understand this at all. I don't see anything that says what they do. I'm very interested to find out. As specialty business. They've been in business. They've been publicly traded a long time, man. I'd say right now this is dicey. It's got a pretty strong headwind, 65. So like for the risk, on balance risk, I'd say it's not worth the reward right now. So I'd say right now that one juice ain't worth the squeeze, man. Because the upside you're going to get is maybe $5-6, but the downside, which is pretty substantial, it's like a 50% decline. If this gets rejected, you could see this thing come down like anywhere from 30 to 50% for like what? 10% upside? Personally, I just think that there's far better trades out there than this, so I'd pass as of right now. It's going to be a no for me, though. Well, it sounds really boring. Unless the metal coatings industry is about to explode. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, so that's just me. Take it for what it's worth. But yeah, chasing plays like this is not the move. In everything you do, we need to consider how much can we actually make for what we're going to put on the table. And if the answer is you can lose more than you're going to make, then that's never going to be the move for you. It's never going to make any sense, and you're never going to make anything of yourself as a trader if you function that way. It's very easy to succumb to betting and bullshit and gambling when the money's there, but the moment it's not, it often rips every single dollar you've ever made out of your hand. That's why people don't make it in the stock market. When the going gets tough, they get on going and they leave. They're done because they can't withstand the downside, the swing, the drawdown, I guess. But the key here is to minimize. You have to play against yourself, right? Like if you know that emotionally you are not very disciplined and you are more than likely to disappear when things get tough, then your goal and your mission is to prevent yourself from being in compromising situations in which you might cut and run and screw yourself for the rest of your life. So that's what I do. I make sure that the drawdown on any of these trades is going to be something that I can sit there and look at when it's red in my portfolio and accept that it is red, but the trade still makes sense and I'm going to continue to hold. If you don't have those targets outlined, then you're just wasting your time and money. And I don't think that there's any point in you watching this or being here if you're not going to take it seriously to do something different. Because at the end of the day, I mean, there's a reason when you talk to someone who's deep in the stock market, they're always rich. Why is that? Because they've learned how to play the game with the rules they've been given, and they've realized that there's a very easy way to benefit oneself and profit from the game as long as you follow those rules. And in order to follow those rules, you have to have your own set of rules. It sounds complicated and convoluted, but I promise it's not. At the end of the day, a few simple rules and following a strategy like I outlined, that range trading strategy, it's drawing two horizontal lines, and it's only trading long when we were at the bottom, short when we're at the top. Done and done. One buy, one sell. As simple as it can possibly be, so that anyone who can press a couple buttons, can mash a couple buttons on a keyboard or a phone, and has like $300 to $400 that they get put into a trading account that they don't spend on bullshit for the month. That's all you need. If you have $300 to $400 and you can mash a couple buttons and draw two horizontal lines, you can make money every single month. In my opinion, you can make anywhere from $500 to $5,000 depending on what you start with every single month with just a few hours a week. It is that simple. I've done it. I do it every week. I know hundreds of people that do. If you haven't figured out how to do it, it's just a matter of how, not a matter of when. So if you're willing to do it, definitely do it. Again, we do a ton of that stuff for free. Links at the bottom. You should join. Just start. You got to just start somewhere. And if you don't start somewhere, then you're never going to make it anywhere. That's the reality here. Money controls us. In this day and age, in this economic climate, in this Western capitalist society, if you don't have money, you're not going to be happy. It doesn't mean you have to have money to be happy, but I'll tell you this. If you need money to function, meaning put food on your table, put gas in your car, to do the things you want to do, to provide housing and shelter for yourself, your family, if you can't do those basic fundamental things, what's the point? So I'm not telling you this to be a nihilist. I'm telling you this to show you how simple it is to create an entirely different outcome for your life. Again, for someone who can draw two horizontal lines, mash a few buttons, and take an hour or two a week to read some stuff, and maybe instead of going spending and eating out for a month, you put $300-400 aside and you start investing with it the right way. You turn that $300-400 into $500, $600, $1,000. And then then it really starts. If you can get to $1,000, you're really in a good position where you can start leveraging $200-300 positions, 2 or 3 at a time. They all go up. You're at $2-3 grand. Once you get to 10K, getting to 100 is not that difficult. I know price seems hard, but it's really not that difficult. So we have a $2,000 position that went up 100%. You now have $4,000. And again, $4,000 position that doubles. Now you got $8,000. Then 16, right? Then 32. That's my point. It's got to double it a few times. It's really not that hard to do if you do it right. If you follow a few specific parameters and make sure that the drawdown on these trades isn't going to kill you or trick you into just cutting loose and disappearing on a position that made a ton of sense. You just got to make sense of what you got, and most people need a community to do that. Most people just need a little guidance. That's all I want this stream to be. It's all I want the community to be. It's easy. I agree with you, Snowflake. Less quantity, more quality is much nicer. Yeah, 10, 15 trades a day is way too much, man, in my opinion. Unless you're like a really adept day trader, you're just, you do it once in a while. Like I do it once in a while for fun, but most of my big returns are 3-4 trades out of the year that make me probably 30% of my return total. Like my portfolio is up. I don't know. Let me look. Yeah. So over the past 3 months, it's up 41%, right? So 28. Over the past year, it's up 55%. So of that 55%, about 30, what was that? About 30% is from one trade, one very well-positioned trade that made sense when I took it, and I continued to invest in and hold and maintain. It's that simple, man. It's just that simple. So, I don't know. I just want to get everybody in position to see that same success. And, yeah, it's here. You just got to do it. Make the decision. Quit sitting around jerking off, telling yourself you're going to do it tomorrow because you're not. Just do it. Start now. Take the time. A friend of mine started this. I've already told you I haven't started. I'll tell you another one. My personal favorite. I don't tell often. He told me every time he'd go sit in his bathroom and poop, and he has kids, right? So he'd hide out in there for 20 minutes. That's the only time he'd do any of the trading education. And anytime you look at the market, is he would just go in there and do his hideaway poop for 20, 30 minutes when he got home. Dude makes, he told me he's doing about $300-400 a week with a few trades. It's that simple. That's over $1,000 a month. Okay, so that's like 12-15 grand a year. Come on, dude. Come on. So, all right. I love y'all. Stay blessed now. Bye-bye.